So this is our 48th academic year and the historical beginning of our first year as a university. And as we embark on the next leg of our journey in becoming a preeminent public urban university, we should remind ourselves that we are all stewards for maintaining the legacy of Metropolitan State College of Denver and for establishing the future legacy of Metropolitan State University of Denver by keeping one foot in our heritage and one foot in our future. Before I start, I'd like to take just a moment to acknowledge a couple of very important people here today. First of all, Mr. Rob Cohen, the chair of the Board of Trustees, and Mr. Jack Pogge, member of the Board of Trustees. And if I could just take one moment to introduce my best advisor, my First Lady, Ruthie Jordan. You know, we begin this fall semester with students filling the hallways and the classrooms of our new Student Success Building, our new Hotel and Hospitality Learning Center, and newly renovated spaces in the Central Classroom, the Plaza Building, the Administration Building, and the West Classroom. This is always the best time of the academic year. First time in returning students engaging with faculty and staff and getting immersed in the MSU Denver experience. However, I see this year an even greater sense of enthusiasm. From the two new buildings, our new status as a university, our strategic plan to, most recently, our Colorado High School GED non-resident tuition initiative, this may be the most dynamic and expansive time in the history of our institution. I read a fascinating book while recently recovering from knee replacement surgery, The Devil in the White City by Eric Larson. And this book tells the story of the visionary architect and urban planner Daniel Burnham, who was tasked to help the 1890 Chicago get over its inferiority complex while transforming the swampy Jackson Park into the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, the White City. But I couldn't help but draw parallels from Burnham's fearless way of thinking to where MSU Denver is today. As I read Larson's book, I began to reflect on Burnham and his efforts to lead the transformation of Chicago, and it reminded me of our very own transformation. Many believe that Chicago was an uncultured meatpacking city, and that a World's Fair held there would be no better than a county fair. The notion that Burnham was trying to convey that Chicago was as cultured and civilized as New York City reminded me of what we've been doing here, demonstrating to all that we are well on our way to becoming a preeminent urban university. Many of you have seen a plaque in my office that a former trustee at Eastern Washington University gave me. It has a Burnham quote on it: "Make no little plans, they have no magic to stir men's blood. Make big plans, aim high in hope and work. Think big." Well, we are thinking big, and we are making bold decisions. Achieving preeminent status was part of the vision I first laid out when I arrived here at MSU Denver 7 years ago. And to achieve any ambitious goal, you need a plan. As French writer and aviation pioneer Antoine de Saint-Exupéry said, "A goal without a plan is just a wish." At MSU Denver, we now have a new plan, a bold plan, the 2012 through 2017 strategic plan, a time of transformation. Adopted by the Board of Trustees in April, this plan articulates the ambitious vision for the university and more fully defines our self-mandated role as Colorado's urban land-grant university. Our strategic plan is the clear difference between simply working on goals and becoming committed to an inspired challenge. The plan's first page portrays a portrait of what the university will look like in 2017 once the plan has taken hold. We believe MSU Denver will be known as an institution that offers well-prepared graduates in a diverse, fast-paced, and increasingly interdependent world with faculty and staff who provide personal attention and effective interaction with their students. We believe we will have a democratic workplace that is respectful of all who learn and work here. We believe that we, the university, will have financial sustainability, unparalleled diversity, and inclusivity, and its goal of achieving the federal designation as a Hispanic-serving institution will be well in sight. We believe the university will have deeply embedded itself in the community as a partner in business and community efforts, and we believe that we are on our way to preeminence. Developed by the Strategic Planning Committee, which was co-chaired by physics professor and faculty senate president, Dr. Cameron Sahami, and Kathy Lucas, our associate vice president for marketing and communications. The plan has the imprint of many hands. Feedback and insight was gathered by from nearly 2,000 faculty, staff, alumni, board members, students, and community leaders over the course of a 2-year planning process. And the strategic plan will affect us all and help take this wonderful institution into 2017 and the realization of our preferred future. It is particularly important that each faculty and staff member read and understand the strategic plan and use it as a roadmap in their own planning efforts. We handed out today a brochure, I think you all have it, that details the plan, and you can read the full plan on the strategic planning website identified in the brochure. Members of the Strategic Planning Committee will be scheduling presentations to review the plan with departments throughout the university. The plan is built on 4 pillars: diversity, democratic workplace, entrepreneurship, and telling the MSU Denver story. These pillars support the strategic themes and are designed to prepare students to thrive in a complex and uncertain future, to provide a campus climate of inclusivity that includes meeting our goal of HSI designation, and to become a noted and sought-after resource in helping to improve the state in which we live. The plan has 4 strategic themes under which 11 goals are detailed, and these themes reinforce our self-mandated vision of serving as Colorado's urban land-grant university and will position us to solve real-world problems through public-private partnerships, utilizing the strength of our faculty and the energies of our students. Our 4 strategic themes are student and academic success, community engagement, regional stewardship, and institutional culture and resources. And I think all of you received today those building blocks, so you can begin to build your own strategic plan as we're moving throughout the year. It's important to understand that our plan resonates nicely with the Colorado Commission on Higher Education's recent draft master plan for higher education, in that it seeks metrics and accountability. Based on feedback from the general public, the Commission on Higher Education believes that higher education institutions must be accountable for their retention and graduation of students. And woven throughout our plan are elements dedicated to students and their academic success. All students, regardless of their background, and particularly for addressing the needs of historically underrepresented students. A critical element of the plan is technology. A forward-looking and reliable and sustained technology system is central to our role as an urban land-grant university, and it would provide the necessary infrastructure to open new opportunities for students as global citizens and for innovative partnerships with the community. Therefore, I am announcing today the formation of an Information Technology Strategic Planning Task Force, charged to build consensus as a community on what technology is necessary to achieve and laid out in our overall strategic plan. For example, predictive modeling related to student success and comprehensive reporting of institutional performance are methods of how technology is guided by institutional priorities. The Information Technology Strategic Plan will be directly guided by and reflective of a time of transformation. The outcome of the strategic planning, or the technology strategic planning process, will identify systems, services, and support necessary to advance the objectives and goals identified in the 4 themes. For example, the theme of community engagement and regional stewardship includes a strategy to define the image of MSU Denver neighborhood as the entry point to the Auraria campus, and as a strategic community resource with facilities and programs, such as our Center for Advanced Visualization and Experiential Analysis. To support this strategy and ultimately advance the goal, the IT task force would work to not only understand what types of technology systems and services are required by the CAVIA, but would also recommend the infrastructure and functionality necessary to support the broad and diverse needs of both the internal and the external entities, and ultimately attract them to use the facility. Next week, we'll post the charge for the IT strategic planning process and its task force representation on the university's strategic planning website. Throughout his journey, Burnham was faced with many daunting challenges, and as soon as he met one challenge, it seems as though there were 3 more that would arise. Well, over the last 7 years, I think it's pretty safe to say that our number 1 daunting challenge has been funding. We remain one of the lowest funded institutions in the nation and are clearly the lowest funded in the state of Colorado. And these challenges have inspired us to come up with many big ideas for alternative funding mechanisms, such as the development of public-private partnerships, increased emphasis on fundraising and grants and contracts, our entirely self-supported, unsubsidized by state general fund graduate programs. And clearly the last 2 years we've used tuition to offset our general fund reductions. Unfortunately, we have started this academic year with our overall enrollment down by 2%, the effect of which is compounded by last year's enrollment dip of 2.6%. With 2/3 of our budget funded through tuition, a 2% decrease in enrollment could mean a $2 million budget reduction. That's the bad news. The good news is that Vice President for Administration and Finance, Natalie Lutz, set aside a reserve that appears will accommodate this decrease in enrollment for this academic year. However, there are other continuing challenges swirling around our budget that may have additional impact, and you should understand them. They include the state's own revenue forecast. The good news, it's looking up at this point. But as state economists are trying to determine if this uptick are one-time revenues or permanent base revenues to the general fund. The next forecast will be later this month, and we'll have a better sense of that. Tuition increases. Per our financial accountability plan with the Colorado Department of Higher Education, we are only allowed to increase tuition by 9% for each of the next 3 years. Any variation of that would require the permission from the state of Colorado. And while Lieutenant Governor and CDE-HE Executive Director Joe Garcia is advocating for the state to increase the higher education general fund, there is a caveat that institutions will not go above the mandated 9%, and there may actually be possible incentives to institutions to stay well below the 9%. We should also all recognize that the Federal Department of Education is very seriously considering linking Pell Grant support to constrain tuition increases. Additional decreases in enrollment is a critical issue. Statewide, we are seeing a decrease in resident enrollment trends. And as a university, we're looking at a myriad of enrollment management strategies. In general, our in-state enrollment is down, and our out-of-state has remained the same. One strategy being explored is increasing our out-of-state student population, which is a strategy used by many other four-year institutions. But if we do that, we'll need to assure that our historical commitment to serving Colorado residents particularly from within the 7-county metropolitan area, does not change. So while there's no need to panic, we do need to be concerned. And I have tasked my leadership team to continue strategic conversations and to work with their areas on developing a set of short and long-term recommendations to address this ongoing shortfall in enrollment. During the 3 years Burnham worked on creating and executing the White City, he was called upon to make numerous tough decisions. And one of the toughest was to create something that was comparable to, or preferably better than, the Eiffel Tower. Imagine that. Which had been built for the Paris Exposition. Something that would distinguish the fair from all others, something that would make the fair distinctive. Burnham struggled but couldn't come up with any great ideas from his team. Well, very late in the game, actually shortly before the opening of the fair, a civil engineer residing in Chicago, George W.H. Ferris, stepped forward. The Ferris wheel, America's response to the Eiffel Tower, was born and became an American icon from its very first rotation. Well, as a leader, you often must make tough decisions. This is one of the biggest challenges of leadership, and you must be prepared for the after effects. Earlier this year, our Board of Trustees approved the Colorado High School GED non-resident tuition rate, offering a new non-resident tuition rate to students who were brought to Colorado when they were children. These students live here and have earned their high school diploma or their GED here, but they don't qualify for resident tuition because they cannot prove their lawful presence. The new rate is higher than tuition for in-state Colorado students, but lower than what out-of students pay. The rate contains no state subsidy, and qualifying students are not eligible for state or federal grants and loans. And as of last Friday, 238 undocumented students, 136 new students, and 102 continuing have qualified for the new rate and are registered for the fall semester. Because of our mission as an urban land-grant university, our primary responsibility is to serving students in our community, which we define as the greater Denver area and the state of Colorado. The MSU Denver Board of Trustees and I agree that Colorado's undocumented students with high school or general equivalency diplomas are part of our community, and to offer them an affordable in-state higher education option was not only mission appropriate, but also the compassionate and forward-looking thing to do. It's also the smart thing to do in terms of adding educated professionals to Colorado's workforce, even more of a reality with President Barack Obama's recent decision regarding immigration policy, which defers deportation proceedings and provides renewable 2-year work permits for undocumented students. To lead means to occasionally stand alone. With early leadership from the Faculty Senate, we were the first public institution in the state to support the Colorado Asset Bill, Colorado's version of the DREAM Act. We have continued to formally support it along with the Federal DREAM Act. And now we have acted within the statutory authority of the Board of Trustees to provide an unsubsidized, affordable, non-resident tuition rate for these students. That's what this tough urban university is doing in the belief that increasing, not excluding access, is the right thing for our institution and the community that we serve. Let me take just a brief moment to personally thank the Board of Trustees for their leadership and their courage in adopting this very important and controversial policy. In 1893, the White City brought the invention of Cracker Jacks, juicy fruit gum, Pabst Blue Ribbon beer, and of course, the Ferris wheel. This was a time of much risk-taking that reaped great rewards, similar to what we're doing here at MSU Denver. Ever since we opened our doors to 1,189 students, our entrepreneurial spirit allowed us to not only dream of bigger things, but to make them happen. Today, we educate more than 23,000 students and offer 55 majors and 90 minors and 3 master's degrees. And because we are a public institution located in the heart of Denver with a mission of accessibility, quality education, and diversity, our big idea of serving as Colorado's urban land-grant university becomes more of a reality each and every day. Let me take a moment to reintroduce the MSU Denver experience to the greater Denver and Colorado economy. Our innovativeness must no longer be the best-kept secret. We must no longer be a quiet giant. This is not the same institution. We are reshaped, refocused. And let me just give you a sampling. We have our own unique identity, an MSU Denver neighborhood on the Auraria campus, one that has dramatically changed the Auraria Parkway landscape. Not only have we transformed the nature of our student and faculty population to more closely mirror the ethnic demographics of the state, we have also demonstrated and established a physical and very public home for this institution on one of Denver's major thoroughfares. This is also evident with our brand new Spring Hill Suites at MSU Denver, which held its grand opening last month. Planning for this innovative partnership got underway in earnest just as the economy started to slip into the recession. However, our foundation board and our board of trustees moved forward with the project to provide a top-shelf teaching and learning environment for students and faculty in the growing hospitality, tourism, and events department. And did you know that faculty in the environmental science, chemistry, electrical, mechanical, and civil engineering departments are collaborating on a grant-funded research project? The biodiesel pilot plant project will incorporate used cooking oils from the Hospitality Learning Center as raw material. As a community university partnership, senior engineering students will be conducting additional research and testing for a local biodiesel company, gaining real-world experience that will advance them in their careers. Yesterday, we held the official grand opening of the Student Success Building. This student fee-funded building adds 145,000 square feet of space on campus for MSU Denver students and staff, and provides students with a central location for a wide range of MSU Denver support services. It also provides facilities to house the new Center for Advanced Visualization and Experiential Analysis, the CAVIA, the decision theater that I spoke of earlier. But most importantly, it serves as the physical manifestation of our first-year success program, which is our commitment to improving first-time freshman retention and ultimately graduation. Working with our sister institutions and the Auraria staff, we've modified the Auraria Master Plan that expands our neighborhood boundaries to include our new athletic fields on the other side of Colfax. This new complex for athletics, which is slated to open by 2013, will not only serve our intercollegiate athletic programs and expand our recreational and club programs, but it will also serve as a community resource. In addition, you should know that the Auraria plan contemplates that the administration building, over there on the very southwest corner, will be solely under the MSU Denver umbrella in the near future. The North Classroom building will be under the CU Denver umbrella, and the South Classroom building will be under the CCD umbrella. And finally, the master plan includes initial plans for our next building in the MSU Denver neighborhood, for which we will begin the program planning during this academic year. On July 1, we officially became a university, and that new name has erased all doubts about our identity. Not only did we elevate the value of our degrees for our graduates by assuming the mantle of a university, We also increased the public awareness through media coverage and legislative relationships that were established along this journey. We are making enormous strides in our efforts to increase MSU's diversity. We are 1 year ahead of pace on our goal of becoming a Hispanic serving institution. Efforts such as offering orientation, advising, and registration at the same time, and bilingual advertising that features outstanding Latino faculty and graduates have helped increase our Latino enrollments from a head count of 13% in the fall of 2007 to 19.5% this fall, putting us ahead of our plan by 284 students. We had expected to reach 19.4% in 2013. And as for new Latino students, enrollment is up by 6%, or 63 students more than last fall. And our overall student of color population is at 33%, up from 24% in 2007, the largest of any Colorado four-year institution. Our faculty of color numbers are more closely mirroring those of our students, and today, almost 23% of our tenured and tenure-track faculty are professors of color. In fact, the Chronicle of Education has ranked MSU Denver first in the state for the ethnic diversity of our faculty. We are also working with the business community to better demonstrate our graduates are prepared to meet employer needs. This includes collaboration with the National Khan Academy to develop a math remediation lab. You may have seen recently, highlighted in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and just this past Sunday on 60 Minutes. This lab will provide student support at no cost and will help MSU Denver to decrease the first-year freshman dropout rate. Working with a local donor, we will serve as the national demonstration site for the Khan Academy for all four-year institutions in the United States. Now in year 3, our graduate programs, designed as self-supporting programs with no state general fund support, have paid off their startup loans and are projected to make a profit this academic year. We have created and implemented many initiatives that will take multiple years to see the long-term benefits. You can't just turn them off and on like a light switch. You must stay the course and go through a process that includes planning and implementation and assessment. A great team was critical to Burnham's success. A type A personality, he was a hands-on leader that had so much on his plate. To be successful, he put together a consortium of the country's best architects, Charles McKim, George B. Post, Louis Sullivan, and others. Well, here at MSU Denver, we are surrounded with talented teams of individuals committed to making, supporting, and implementing the university's bold decisions, its big plans. Entrepreneur Paul Hawkins said, "All is connected. No one thing can change by itself." Thinking big takes perseverance and determination. You all embody that true Roadrunner spirit. You're scrappy. You demonstrate much perseverance. Simply put, you get things done. And I have to tell you, I am thrilled to start a new academic year and to work with every one of you in making big plans for our future of MSU Denver. We've already accomplished so much, and I look forward to a year filled with more success. And as always, perhaps a few unforeseen and unpredictable challenges along the way. There may be no task that is more satisfying, more fulfilling, and more exciting than embracing an important educational institution such as MSU Denver and making it better. Remember, you are stewards of our legacy. Make this year of big plans and much transformation. And let's make it a great year to be a Roadrunner. Thank you all. Have a great year, everyone.